Hello dear students, welcome back to the dental class. Today I'll be teaching you about the technique of the mandibular nerve block, which is also called the true mandibular nerve block. We'll be learning about the technique, the anatomical considerations, and the failures and mishaps associated with the mandibular nerve block. Now starting with the technique, the steps are almost the same as that of the inferior alveolar nerve block that we have discussed in our previous class. Starting from taking a sterile needle and checking the flow of the needle, we will warm the anesthesia cartridge and position the patient supine. Then we will dry the tissue and apply topical antiseptic if available. Then apply topical anesthetic, and by establishing firm hand rest, keeping the tissue taut, and by keeping the syringe out of the patient's side, we will insert the needle into the tissue. The needle insertion site is determined by two landmarks, the extraoral landmarks and the intraoral landmarks. The extraoral landmarks are the intertracheal notch, which is the lower border of the tragus of the same side of the block, and the corner of the mouth on the opposite side. The needle should be aligned with this line and is parallel with the angle between the ear and the face. Now the intraoral landmarks. The intraoral landmarks are mesolingual cusp of the maxillary second molar, which determines the height of the needle injection, which is almost 10 to 15 mm above the mandibular plane. And the maxillary second molar distal side is the needle penetration side. These two intraoral and extraoral landmarks determines the needle insertion side. Then slowly advance the needle for about 25 mm until bone is contacted, which is the neck of the condyle. After the bone is contacted, we will withdraw the needle for about 1 mm. As always, aspirate in two planes. If positive aspiration in first attempt, then withdraw the needle slightly and angle it superiorly and reinsert it. Then deposit 1.8 ml of anesthetic solution over 60 to 90 seconds and withdraw the needle. Now have the patient keep his mouth open for about 1 to 2 minutes to permit diffusion of anesthetic solution. Then return the patient to the upright position and wait for 5 minutes for the anesthesia to get effective. Now we will discuss about the anatomy of the region of the mandibular nerve block. The needle pierces the mucosa and the submucosa, and then it travels between the temporalis muscle laterally, lateral pterygoid muscle above, and medial pterygoid muscle inferiorly. It reaches the lateral side of the mandibular condylar neck above the maxillary artery. In this region, the nerves that can be anesthetized are inferior alveolar nerve, mantle nerve, incisive nerve, lingual nerve, nerve to the mylohyoid, auriculotemporal nerve, and buccal nerve. And the areas that are anesthetized by mandibular nerve block are mandibular teeth up to the midline, buccal mucoperiosteum and mucous membrane on the side of the injection, anterior 2/3 of the tongue and floor of the oral cavity, lingual soft tissues and periosteum, body of the mandible, inferior portion of the ramus, and skin over the zygoma, posterior portion of the cheek and temporal regions. Now that we have discussed the correct technique and the anatomy of the mandibular nerve block, let's discuss about the failures that occur during the mandibular nerve block. One of the reasons of mandibular nerve block failure is when bone is not contacted during the needle insertion. When the bone is not contacted, do not inject the local anesthetic solution. The reason behind the needle not contacting the bone is mouth may not be fully opened and the condyle is positioned distally. In that case, ask the patient to open the mouth widely and re-advance the needle so that the bone is contacted. The second reason of failure is when little anesthetic solution is injected. In that case, if you have injected 1.8 ml of anesthesia cartridge before, then you can inject additional 1.2 ml of anesthetic solution. The mishaps with the mandibular nerve blocks are very rare. Number 1 is hematoma. The ratio of hematoma that occurs with mandibular nerve block is very less common than inferior alveolar nerve block. Trismus is also very less common. Temporary paralysis of cranial nerve 3, 4 and 6, which are trochlear, abducent and oculomotor nerve. This is due to the intravascular administration of local anesthetic. In that case, the patient has diplopia, lid ptosis and paralysis of one eye for about 20 minutes. Middle ear problems can also occur with mandibular nerve block, but very rarely. It is due to the trauma during the injection. With this, today's class is over, but in the end, the quiz question is: what are the pros of mandibular nerve block technique over inferior alveolar nerve block? Give your answer in the comment section below and don't forget to subscribe to the dental class. Take care, bye bye.